Seth Rollins reacts to WWE fans being asked to pick between him and Roman Reigns. Daniel Bryan contemplating leaving WWE after odd detachment at WrestleMania. And Goldberg lauds current WWE roster for dealing with recent complications. Hello everyone, Jose G here bringing you today's top stories in today's Sportskeeda Wrestling News Roundup. Seth Rollins reacts to WWE fans being asked to pick between him and Roman Reigns. Seth Rollins had a message for WWE on Facts after its Twitter handle asked the WWE Universe to pick their favorite between him and Universal Champion Roman Reigns. The former Universal Champion noticed the post and decided to make things clear in his response. Rollins stated that it's a blessing for the fans that they are getting both him and the Tribal Chief at the same time. He then dubbed himself and Reigns as the greatest of all time, saying, quote, "Be blessed that you exist in a moment where you get us both. Two GOATs are better than one," end quote. Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns were both heavily pushed to the top following the former heel's turn in mid-2014 and the implosion of the Shield as a result. Rollins cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase during the WWE Championship match between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar in the main event of WrestleMania 31. He pinned Reigns to win the title in the biggest triumph of his career to date. Reigns headlined 4 consecutive WrestleMania events in a row and is currently the biggest heel on WWE TV. He had a controversial run as a babyface with fans bashing WWE for his character being pushed down their throats. His victory over The Undertaker at WrestleMania 33 didn't help matters at all. It was Reigns' heel turn at SummerSlam 2020 that finally delighted the WWE Universe, and he's been doing quite possibly the best work of his career since then. Rollins is currently also on SmackDown and is another top heel on the brand. These two stars are bound to clash somewhere down the line, as Rollins would certainly want a shot at the Universal title. Kurt Angle confirms Triple H offered him a new role in WWE. Kurt Angle was one of several superstars released from the WWE during last year's mass release. The Olympic gold medalist's name was a surprise inclusion on the list, as he had just transitioned to a backstage role before his WWE departure. Angle, though, has kept himself busy since leaving WWE. The former world champion has now revealed that he was offered an interesting WWE role by Triple H. Kurt Angle disclosed during an Ask Kurt Anything Q&A session on adfreeshows.com that Triple H proposed a plan for him to conduct training sessions at the WWE Performance Center. Triple H wanted Kurt Angle to visit the WWE PC and coach developmental talents once a month. While the idea fell through, Kurt Angle is still hopeful of a similar opportunity presenting itself somewhere down the line. Kurt Angle sounded enthusiastic about the prospect of teaching, as he has considered himself to be a good mentor. Although the WWE Hall of Famer is busy with several other commitments, he didn't rule out the possibility of putting on the coach's hat in the future, saying, quote, "Well, I would consider doing it. It's something that I enjoy doing. Triple H offered me a job, I believe, to, train wrestlers. He wanted me to come down once a month to NXT. Nothing transpired from it, but maybe in the future, there might be some possibility. I like training people. I just don't have a lot of time right now to do it, believe it or not, even including in this pandemic, but I'm good at training people. I'm good at teaching people stuff," end quote. Kurt Angle is one of the most outstanding in-ring workers in professional wrestling history. He was also one of the very few athletes who came from outside wrestling and took the business in no time whatsoever. Kurt Angle's technical know-how would surely be an invaluable addition to the Performance Center program. Daniel Bryan contemplating leaving WWE after odd detachment at WrestleMania. The future of Daniel Bryan in the WWE has come into question following WrestleMania 37. Daniel Bryan is one of the most passionate performers in the history of this industry. Still, during night 2 of WrestleMania 37, he felt an odd detachment during his triple threat match with Edge and Universal Champion Roman Reigns. So much that he is questioning if it's time to stop being a full-time performer. Speaking to BT Sport yesterday, Bryan spoke about the bizarre feeling he had during this year's WrestleMania. He stated that it was unlike anything he's ever felt while wrestling, saying, quote, "It was really bizarre. It's taken me time to fully process what the experience was like because it wasn't like a normal thing. I felt very out of body in it. When I'm wrestling, I feel everything, and I feel like I'm enjoying it. This was weird. I was out there, and it felt like I was detached. It was so strange that before the match started, I got this strange feeling like, oh no, is this what it's like before you die? Am I going to die? Huh? Well, okay. I don't know why or how it happened, but it was unlike anything I've ever felt while wrestling." End quote. With Daniel Bryan's contract rumored to expire this September, it sounds like this might be the end of his road as a full-time performer for WWE. Bryan has admitted that he hasn't watched the match again, but isn't sure if that would help him figure out why he felt the way he did, saying, quote, "I haven't watched it back. I don't know if watching it back would help figure out why I'm so detached. Maybe it was a sign that it's time to let go of being a full-time wrestler. The odd detachment, I was like, whoa, like I said, I'm either going to die, or maybe it's a sign that this isn't it and it isn't the same type of fulfillment that it was before. I've been trying to meditate on it and talk to my friends that I'm close with, like, what is that? My contract is up relatively soon. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing with my life." End quote. Regardless of what Daniel Bryan decides to do, we should be grateful that he gets to retire on his terms instead of being forced into doing so. Batista takes a shot at The Rock. If there is something that Batista isn't afraid to do, it's sharing his opinion. Batista said that The Rock feels very professional wrestling to him and he doesn't want to be that guy. Batista, who retired from WWE in 2019, has gone on to have a successful movie career appearing as Drax in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Spectre, Stuber, and My Spy. Batista was speaking during a set visit by JoeBlow.com of his upcoming film, Army of the Dead, directed by Zack Snyder, premiering on Netflix on the 14th of May. Batista, who like The Rock was able to cross over to the movies, Batista speaking on the physicality that he brings into his roles, wants to go on the other route, saying, quote, "No, because I've tried to go the other route. Like The Rock is a perfect example of someone who uses that strength. So I wanted to go against that grain and make everything much smaller. Very subtle. I make a living off subtlety. I want that to be my strength. I want that to be what separates us. I don't want to be that guy who walks in that room. I never wanted to be that guy." End quote. Going further in an interview, Batista also said that this was not a knock on The Rock, but rather his desire to do something else entirely. Batista believes The Rock is more of a character while he wants to be judged on his acting. Batista seemed interested in plotting a different career path than The Rock, who has become one of Hollywood's most bankable stars. It'll be interesting to see how Batista moves forward in his career. Goldberg lauds current WWE roster for dealing with recent complications. Goldberg appeared on WWE's The Bump for WrestleMania 37 earlier this month and spoke about various topics. At one stage, the host directed the conversation towards his experiences wrestling while no fans have been in attendance at WWE shows. Goldberg has wrestled in 2 matches, both title bouts, for WWE since the COVID-19 pandemic started. Speaking on The Bump, Goldberg explained how strange it was to perform without a crowd for the first time at WrestleMania 36, saying, quote, "The only analogy I could give you is the back when WCW used to wrestle down in Orlando. That atmosphere that it felt like without the people. So to say that eerie is a good way of describing it, that's close. It was hard to go out and do our job, even though we love it so much. It's just really hard to not have the people to feed off of, whether it's part of your gig or not. Whether you're a heel, whether you're a babyface, whether you interact with the crowd, just not having them there, it's a huge detriment to what we try to do. But on the other hand, you look at the staple of who we have and you look at what's going on right now with the weather delay, you've got no better group of people to do what we have to do right now than the list of the roster that we have right now. Talking about thinking on your feet and talking about, changing this scenario because of what's going on, these people are extremely talented. So as far as I look at it, we got more free television." End quote. It's hard to disagree with the praise Goldberg has given the current WWE roster for how they have performed both in and out of the ring during these trying times. Goldberg himself took to the ring twice while there were no fans in attendance. First, he defended his WWE Universal Championship against Braun Strowman at WrestleMania 36 inside the Performance Center. after replacing initial challenger Roman Reigns on short notice. Strowman was triumphant in a quick match. Goldberg reappeared on Raw Legends Night at the start of 2021 to confront then WWE Champion Drew McIntyre and challenged him to a match. The fighting face McIntyre accepted and went on to defeat Goldberg at the 2021 Royal Rumble pay-per-view. Goldberg is contracted to have one more match in WWE this year, but nobody knows when he will show up next. Thanks for watching today's Sportskeeda Wrestling News Roundup. For more news stories and exclusive content, be sure to follow us on all social media. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Download the Sportskeeda app for the most up-to-date stories in the world of wrestling.